Hello and welcome back to WagerTalk TV. My name is Andrew McInnis, joined once again by Dave Cokin. This is the KBO betting show. It is June 23rd. We're talking about picks and predictions for June 24th in the KBO. Dave, you're staying hot, man. You kept it going with your one winner last night or this morning with that over. Great call with that.
It didn't look like it for the first 5 innings. It's 1-0 going into the sixth inning. You don't want that if you've got the over. And then a 7-run bottom of the sixth. The Eagles came in with a couple of their own in the seventh and just sat back and relaxed the rest of the way. So I think it's 6-1-2 on the last 9 best bets. One of those was a rain out, so I just called it a push. And for the season, I did check out what the season record is, knocking down 68+% on totals since the season started. And I'm playing mostly totals, so it's been pretty good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I went small on the other side there and was feeling decent about it on that total, up until later on in the game. But I just wanted to mention before we kind of, do a little recap and we'll talk about the matchups for today. But, I've been talking about betting totals against teams that are really poor, like the Hanwha Eagles are. And the fact of the matter is, we see 11 runs scored by the Samsung Lions just controlling that total on their own. And we've seen that for a lot of different events and a lot of different matchups here. So, like I've been saying, if you like that under, I think the possible look with Hanwha right now isn't betting full game unders with them. It's just betting their team total unders if that's available at your sports book or betting website. That's what I'd recommend anyway. So great call by Dave. I was able to cash in with my best bet at the website, 4% win with the Doosan Bears. They got it done with a 9-2 victory, and Flex was solid again. Yeah,
first inning, basically the game was over. You could see the pitcher had nothing for the other side. They can't hit. The Wyverns, there are 2 really bad teams in this league. There is a big separation between the first 8 and the last 2. And again, we mentioned this yesterday. The Eagles have gotten all the attention because they lost the 18 in a row, and all of them were by 2 or more runs. But they're only a couple of games behind the Wyverns, who are just as pathetic.
Well, you mentioned it yesterday. All of our attention was on the Eagles, and then we weren't really talking or kind of, I should say, crapping on this SK team. But, you made me feel pretty good about the pick when you were talking about how bad they are, and I felt good about the matchup in general. And I thought it was a pretty good price. So, without further ado, we'll be doing some recapping as we go through these plays. I want to quickly shout out the fact that Dave was on the golf show today. So yes. All of you guys make sure to tune into that. And how was the show, Dave?
It was good. I think Nick Borman, myself, Kelly Stewart, who certainly made it a more attractive show. And a couple of things to mention. I have a 5-play package. These are outright plays. And there's some pretty good prices in there, too. $9, you get all 5 of the outright plays. Now, I would suggest using those guys in matchups as well. But you don't – I'll post the matchups eventually, but you don't need to buy those because if you buy the package and get the 5 outright picks, you know who I'm using the matchups, obviously. Right. So there's no reason to spend any other money. As for the KBO, I've got 1 play. Again, when I'm sticking with 1 play a day, I'm doing really well. And that's up for $9 right now at WagerTalk. I should mention – just knowing this in advance, there is the possibility we could see some rain in these games. So if it happens that the play I posted gets rained out, just play it when they post it for the next day because they're not going to skip over this pitcher. Let's put it that way.
Well, I think I've told you that's happened to me a few times. And of course, customer service is great. They'll refund or give wager bucks back. But like you said, chances are if it's the same pitching staff and the same lineups out there, we're going to like the pick again. We'll start things off in rotation order like usual. Doosan Bears, SK Wyverns. So like I said, I cashed a ticket with them. They won 9-2. Dave talked about it. It was pretty much over before it even started. What are your thoughts on this matchup here, Dave, as we approach the second game of the series? We have you taking on Park here, and you hasn't really been a guy I've been overly in love with.
No,
however, he's holding a 5-1 record.
5-1, 3.18, but then you look beyond that, and it's like, how? He's got a great strand rate. He's got 13 walks and 16 strikeouts in 44 innings. So his control's okay, but he doesn't miss any bats. Actually, the pitching matchup does favor the Wyverns here. Park is the better of the two pitchers, and he had a really good outing against Doosan earlier this year. 7 innings, 2 hits, and 2 runs, 1 unearned, and 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. It should be mentioned that you had, I guess, probably his best start against the Wyverns. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. You can make a case that maybe the pitchers control things here. You know, if you want to gamble, this might be a game the Wyverns can sneak out. But it's a gamble. You got to know that going in. I mean, you're getting plus 140 or thereabouts, so that makes it a little less of a, there's a little cherry out there for you. But it's really tough to pull the trigger on this team right now. They're just playing horrible baseball. They've lost, 7 in a row now, and going against a team that's won 5 in a row. Just too many red flags. So even though the dog seems attractive on the pitching matchup, not with my money.
Yeah, I don't really have too much on this game, but looking at both pitchers here, talk about a guy and you, like I said, 5-1 record. Some decent outings from him. He's pitched pretty deep into some games, but with the way this team is playing right now, the runs that they're putting up, I understand we could make an argument for some solid pitching here tonight, but I actually like the over 10. I think we'll see some more hits out of SK here tomorrow morning, and I think Doosan keeps it going. I mean, right now, the stat is 18-5-1. Doosan road games going over the total. On the road, they're just batting unbelievable .328, and they're leading the league in runs per game on the road. So I'm not going to go against it. I'm going to keep things rolling here with this team and expect some runs from them. But it's not really a play that I've isolated and I've been too excited about on this card. But we are going in rotation order. Quick little hello to Jacob Werner, Anthony Roman, Johnny Outlaw, Daniel, V. Barry, Mike, everybody in the group chat for joining us. We appreciate you guys for joining. And remember to hit that thumbs up, comment who you're betting on, so we can get an idea of what you like as well. NC Dinos, KT Wiz. Pretty interesting matchup here, I'd say. But we have Wright here, Mike Wright coming off probably, well, it is his worst outing of the season, Dave. How do you expect him to bounce back here?
Wright's been okay, and that's it. I mean, he's been serviceable in 6 of his 8 starts. His numbers aren't anything to write home about, and he's not overpowering. And he'll face a pretty good offense here. He's going against a pitcher, however, is certainly not better than he is in Kim, and is probably a little bit worse. Kim gives up a ton of hits. Wow, 36 hits in 20 in the third innings. But he's had good control, so he's not killing himself as far as that goes. He's on 5 walks, 16 strikeouts, not bad. I'd say one of his 3 starts was good. The other 2 were so-so. Look, the Dinos are just, they're fine. They find ways to win games, and the Wiz, unfortunately, this has been a season-long trend for them. They find ways to lose games, and that's why they're 6 games under 500. They probably shouldn't be with the offense they have, but the bullpen's been a calamity at times. It's a tough team to bet on when they're facing the upper echelon in the league, and the Dinos certainly qualify as upper echelon. It's too pricey for me, but I'm not going against the Dinos. That would be the side I would look at.
I expect some runs here in this one as well. I don't like what Kim has been doing overall on a large scale. I think you look at his recent stats, and some people might know me as a recency guy, but on a large scale, I don't think he's a great pitcher by any means. And Wright, like I said, coming off a pretty rough outing. And to Dave's point, he hasn't been great all season long. In fact, many people would argue that the starts that he's had have actually been in pitcher-friendly parks, and he's been having trouble when he falls behind in a pitch count. In the count to get back into order. So I could see some runs, and I think KT is the kind of team that we've actually seen them lose some high-scoring games just based off their bullpen and letting them down and things of that nature. So we did at the same time, though, we did see their bullpen pick things up for a little while, but I still don't really trust them long term. I trust Wright over Kim here, but the price isn't really there for me. I'd look -1 here. We've seen this stat kind of go down a little bit, but I'm going to bring it up again, how strong this team has been off low-scoring games. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, guys, but when the NC Dinos games they're involved in go under, usually the next day they're producing some runs and getting right back in that high-scoring win column. So that's the way I'd look. NC -1 here and the over in this game. Kia Tigers, Lotte Giants. This is a pretty good game here. I mean, we've got a guy Australia on the mound. He's been outstanding. First of all, Kia has struggled on the road. It's been very clear that they haven't really been a road team. And guess who's been a really good home team? The Lotte Giants. This is where they've been really comfortable. This is where they've played well. And Kia, 8th in the league in runs per game on the road, 8th in batting average. Lotte with a 13-5 record at home. Kia with a 10-12 record on the road. First of all, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this price that we had here with Straley. I was over on the KBO website. Liked what I saw. I mean, everything across the board. Straley's been lights out, especially early in games. But most importantly, Dave, you touched on this yesterday with, I think it was Racinski. Might not have been yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday with Despaigne and Racinski. But how long he's been pitching into games. What do you think about that? I mean, it's been 6-7 innings on average.
Yeah, he had some control problems at the outset of the season, but he's really rounded at the form. And I think you can argue he's the second best pitcher in the league right now behind Koo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his last 5 starts, 33 and 2/3 innings, 20 hits, 34 strikeouts, only 7 walks, only 4 earned runs. His last start, he was sensational. 8 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 12 strikeouts. He'll have a little bone to pick with this opponent because you could argue maybe his worst or second worst start of the year was against Kiwoom. So, or it was against Kia, I should say. Straley's go with right now. He's going against a guy who's been, back and forth. Some starts not bad, some starts not good. One of his good starts was against this opponent. So maybe he can bring that to the forefront again tonight. But the numbers aren't great on the Kia starter. And you would have to think that Lotte has an edge in this game. It's priced that way, but it's tough to argue against Straley right now. Look, he's arguably, at least in terms of what he's done in his career, he's the best pitcher in the league. I mean, this guy's had a decent major league career.
You mentioned you didn't like the 8.5 number here, or in general, really. You look towards 9s or 9.5.
Well, it's
what do you think about this
there.
one here? Sorry?
I'm seeing 9s on the game.
9? Okay.
Unless it's dropped.
Perfect.
Yeah,
well, I've seen the Tigers.
It's some 8.5 now.
They've gone under in 5 of 6 and 7 of 9 of Dan Straley's starts.
Well, and the additional thing there, I mean, if you're looking at in-season trends, Kia 15-5-1 to the under on the road. They don't hit away from home. I think the Giants are the right side in this game.
Definitely. And to be honest with you, you said it was the right price there, but I still think it's a pretty generous spot, and I think it'll still keep rising up. So, when there's certain spots where you bet on a certain team and certain price ranges you want to look, and I think this everything adds up. I think to back Straley here in this spot, and Jacob Werner here, great follow on Twitter. He's saying Straley just needs some run support. I think if he's playing some great teams, that's definitely the case. He's going to get hit a little bit, but yeah,
he's got one win. I mean, he could arguably have 6 or 7 wins right now. He just hasn't gotten run support. By the way, somebody's saying it's 8.5. This is why you gotta have more than one out, guys. There's 8.5s and 9s available on this game, and if you've got more than one out, chances are you're going to have your best op. The money you make, or the money you save yourself by having multiple outs over the course of a year is pretty dramatic. Because you're generally always going to get a better number if you
every sport.
Yeah, I mean, I got 10 outs altogether, and I check the lines. I'm going to play the best number whatever it is, unless it's a pari-mutuel like a horse race. It doesn't matter where you bet because it's going to be the same payoff anyway. But with anything with the spread or money line involved, I mean, if you're serious about winning, I mean, if you're just doing this for fun, for laughs, $20 a game or something like that. I guess it doesn't matter. But if you're serious about winning and you don't have multiple outs, then you're not serious about winning.
I would agree. I would definitely agree. And somebody messaged me yesterday, a loyal viewer to the show, asking about opening lines. They said that their book doesn't offer them, and pretty much said that, what I mean by that is their book is very late to produce the lines. So by the time their book produces those lines, they're way off from what the opener was. Yeah, I just, I think some people, it's not as
get an offshore account. There's some really good offshores. You got to pick and choose. Don't look at, on Twitter and say, bet at this place if you don't know who they are. Check the reviews in the book and go from there. I mean, it's just the way you got to do it. If you live in a state where there's legalized wagering and they have multiple books, that's a different story. I mean, you don't have to go the offshore route, and eventually you'll get to that level in most of the country. But for those of you, to me, I just don't understand how in 2020 there's some bettors, and I'm talking serious bettors who bet nickels and dimes, and they're dealing with some mom and pop book, Louis the Bookie. It's like, I got to check with my mate. And one guy had an argument with him. It's actually a personal service customer of mine. He says, why is it still like dealing in cash? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. It's still the same money, okay? And you find a book that you don't have to jump through hoops for to collect. Because
for sure.
and again, that's why you got to check them all out. But give yourself the opportunity to win.
Definitely. Abel here says, done with KBO, concentrating on soccer only. Been killing it on soccer. Well, Abel, the way I see it is, why not kill it in both? That's my answer to you right there with that one. But good for you for making money in soccer. And I see you in quite a bit of the group chats. You have DX Filer there. Matrix and Pinnacle's a good one. Yeah, I use Pinnacle. I like using
You're in Canada, so now in America, you can't get a Pinnacle account,
right?
Okay, unless you get an agent. And that's another story entirely, which I'm not going to talk about. But agents,
I forget that, Dave. Sometimes I forget which ones. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Penny's a great book. Penny's a great book. I think they've been around forever, and they're just rock solid and very sharp. By the way, they've got a very sharp clientele.
Kiwoom Heroes LG Twins here. We've got Wilson on the mound for the Twins, and we've got Lee with an 0-2 record with a 5 ERA. And I wanted to touch on something for a quick second. Yesterday, you mentioned the stats right now that are supporting foreign pitchers versus the Korean-born pitchers. And yesterday, if you backed that theory, or this morning, you cashed your tickets, but and a loser, yeah. So it hasn't been outstanding.
It's only 50.
I think it hasn't been great, and
I think
the winning percentage is good, but like Dave said yesterday,
it's not really.
Units.
I think Freddie Mills
hasn't been great though.
Freddie Mills published. I think Freddie Mills had the record up. It's 50-41. That's not that good, and these guys are mostly favored.
Well, and they're laying horrible juice is what I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say is that you're not going to get a good number when you're betting this either. Yes,
this game's a classic example too.
That's why I brought it up.
The Twins are really short-handed. Mm-hmm. They got 3 position players out, and they happen to be 3 of the guys who hit in their first 6 in the batting order, so they're key offensive guys. But the team's lost 4 in a row, and they're playing a team that's won 6 in a row, and they're still about $1.45 favored. Now, that is solely because of the fact that Wilson's on the mound, and he's been good. I mean, there's no denying that. Wilson's been above average in this league. He's not the best pitcher in the league, but he's a top 2 starter, okay? And he's the better starter in this matchup, and the better starter by a considerable margin. Now, I'm not sure they are overpriced here. I think that the injuries are factored in, because otherwise, with this particular matchup, I think you'd be looking at LG being about $1.80. So I think they've adjusted for the injuries. But, boy, it's really tough to back a team when you know that they've got 3 starters out, and you know that depth is a very big issue in this league. Mm-hmm. Even with the best teams, there's just not a lot of quality depth. And that would make me very reluctant to back the Twins in this matchup, even though they would appear to have a clear edge on the mound.
Yeah, Jacob Werner saying here in the chat box, other pitchers tough to cap, let a lot of runs in previous starts, and then pass 2.0 ERA. So here's something I wanted to mention on this show today is that there's a lot of pitchers right now where we're seeing ERAs and certain stats on the full season that don't reflect their past, let's say even 3 or 4 starts. So I can't speak for Dave, obviously, but for me, I look at both recency and full season. But with Lee here, right, his overall ERA does not, and stats on the full season does not reflect how he's been playing recently.
No, he's been better.
We've seen that with a lot of guys. We've seen that with a lot of teams as well. And looking at this price that we're able to get here with a Kiwoom team that's been playing some pretty good ball here, it might be a respectable spot here to back it. I'm possibly looking at the first 5 innings under in this game, and you can get that at 5 at a pretty good price, close to even. So that's the way I would be looking at things. This is a classic example, and Dave, I've been looking at back in some of the foreigners against Korean-born. I haven't been auto betting it though. I haven't been just betting every single opportunity, or else I wouldn't be doing too well. But this is an opportunity here. You see a Korean-born pitcher that actually, over his past two starts, has looked pretty good.
Yeah, there's no way I can play the Twins here, even with what I consider to be a significant edge on the mound. He's going to have to be really good tonight, in my opinion, because it's just really tough to make a case for a team this shorthanded to be putting up their usual quota of offense, and they're not scoring a whole lot right now. What do you value more, the pitcher or the team form and the news items that go with it? I tend to favor team form more. And I can tell you I'm not laying $1.50 with a team that's lost 4 in a row against a team that's won 6 in a row. So
Definitely not. We'll move on to the last game of the night. The aforementioned Hanwha Eagles, Samsung Lions, the team that we love to talk about and usually love to fade. And if anybody is watching or reading Freddie Mills' articles, and both Dave and I have been taking a look, he produces some great stats. Dave, I've been getting a pretty good kick out. I hope Freddie sees this. I'm not sure if he will, but I've been getting pretty good kick out of his summaries when he talks about the Hanwha Eagles, because it's pretty much it's very humorous.
He's right too.
It's very casual, but it's very humorous, and like you said, he's not wrong. This is a team, and I told you about my friend Dave, who's been auto betting against this team, and he's been making some good money with it.
Yes, he is
every single morning. So we'll look at this spot here, and we'll try and figure out how we'd approach this one again. We've got a 2-0 pitcher for Samsung that's looked at pretty good so far. We're looking at on a large scale. I think that he's going to dominate. I think Jang Shai Hwan is a guy that I'm going to look to bet against, and there's just no reason for me to look at Hanwha here. And yesterday we saw Bell on the mound, and I tweeted out kind of just for fun, why he's still around, and you replied back to me saying, it looked better, but
he did. He pitched a good game last night.
Yeah, but we look at the guy pitching today. It's no upgrade, and it's not going to get any better here today, Dave.
No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, these numbers stink. 32 2/3, 46 hits, a lot of runs, 23 walks in 23 walks in that number of innings, 32 2/3 innings. That's a lot. He hasn't been getting crushed in games, but his peripherals are horrible. The downside of this is you've got a young pitcher for Samsung who I suspect will go back, is probably going to end up back in the Futures League. He's not ready yet. His numbers are okay, but the control's a real issue. And I don't think he's quite ready yet. But he's not. The flip side of that is he's facing a minor league team tonight, is what it amounts to. And, this is not a huge price. I can tell you that $1.70 is not going to scare anybody off betting Samsung in this game. And while on an individual one-game basis, I probably would say, I'm not really interested in backing the rookie pitcher at that price. If you've been betting against Hanwha all along, then you might as well just keep on doing it. You're not going to win them all, but you're going to win. You're going to win most of them. And this is what Freddie said a few weeks ago, and he's right. If you just bet blindly, against Hanwha every game, you're probably going to end up with a nice profit. And that's the way it's been. I mean, the team is 10-33 on the season and really not showing any signs of getting much better. And their bullpen last night, by the way, it really worked out for me because this is a 1-0 game in the 5th inning, and then Bell runs into some trouble. There was an error in the 6th inning, and then they had to get him out of there. And the bullpen came in and proceeded to put 6 straight guys on base. And all of a sudden, the game that it looked like I was going to lose with the over, it's like, oh, I pretty much got this one locked up, and then I did get it locked up in the 7th inning. That's the problem with Hanwha. When things go bad, they go really bad for this team.
And several different articles right now are talking about Samsung making a push. Freddie talked about it as well. And looking at the way that they've played, I like teams that can, number one, win low-scoring games, and number two, late in games, crawl back or step things up when they seem to need to. And we can blame bad pitching, but it seems like when they've had to over the past 1.5, 2 weeks, they've had some run support late in games as well, and I like that. So I don't like a total play in this game with an actual full game with both teams. However, I'm going to hop on the Hanwha Eagles under their team total of 4.5 for tomorrow morning's action. That also seems to be a pretty solid play most of the night, most of the days, I guess. And, this is a spot here. I think you got a pretty good pitcher going up against them as well. So, it's
I'm a little opposite. It's not a bet for me, but I lean over in the game. I think there could be some issues late in this game because neither of these pitchers figures to go real deep. And I think you could see bullpenitis strike in this game.
Maybe an in-game wager there from you, Dave.
Would have worked out last
night. How much of
night.
an in-game kind of guy you are. But,
well, I'm not at all. No. Not in this game. Not in this sport. I honestly, it's the middle of the night. I'm not going to bother to get up and go over to the computer if I'm awake and start looking at bet in-game. My bet's already made for the games. I hope it doesn't get rained out because there is a possibility there could be some rainouts this evening, and we'll see if we can pull another one in the win column.
Definitely. And just a quick note there to all of you guys out there. If you have a game where you purchased from either myself or Dave and it does get rained out, you have not received your money back or whatever, email support@wagertalk.com. You'll be taken care of and you'll receive your money back in either just regular currency or wager bucks to get put back towards another play. And like Dave said, we'll either include it in our write-ups or we'll discuss it on these shows. The chances are, if it's the same pitching staff, same pitchers from both teams, the same lineups, we'll like that play again the next day. It just only makes sense that way. So
if the line is the same,
if the line is the same, yes, sir. Especially, we see like the weather as well. Weather could also be a factor if it's a total or something like that. But for the most part, we're probably going to like the same play the following the day. GX Filer here saying Lions minus 1.5 run license seems to be a pretty good play, decent value, possibly first 5. Daniel says Samsung has been the team though all season till this point. When I back them, they lose. A fade. That happens to all of us, Daniel. He's saying that when he backs them, they lose, and when he doesn't, they win.
Pick
the right spots.
A pet peeve just came up. The word value gets overused now. Okay, there's no good value on minus 1.5. Especially in this league. There just isn't. Okay, if you're betting for value, that ain't it. I'm not saying it's not a good bet, but enough with the word value. That's all I ever hear now. Every play is like, there's value in it. It's just such an overused word. You gotta understand what actual value is. If you're a value bettor, you're not laying a 1.5, basically ever in baseball, especially when it's a home team. Because they don't have to hit in the bottom of the ninth. I mean, that is something to factor in on a runs line. But Hanwha was such a bad team.
That you always say, if you're getting a line better than what you think it was going to be, then pull the trigger. Value. That's something that you said before.
But I would hesitate to. I mean, minus 1.5 on that game right now is at best minus 105, right? No, actually plus 105. All right, well, that's not the worst I've ever seen. I would go. It's still, to me, and we talked about this, there are a lot more one-run games happening now than there were earlier. I would go the -1 route. If you're going to go that way, play -1. You lower your liability on the money line. You're still going to get a decent return. If they win by 1, you get your money back. You don't lose. To me, it's just a better bet. There's more value in -1 than -1.5. Okay?
Just a quick shout out here. Dave is on a 6-1-2 best bet run, and like he stated, one of those at the end is just a rain out. So you put it as a push, but there was a rain out there. So 6-1-2 best bet record, and my record here listed below. I'm actually going to throw it another one, which is kind of better, I'd say, or a little bit larger, tiny bit. 10-3-1 on a large scale, which is something that I wanted to state. So what's wrong?
My book doesn't offer -1. Nobody's book offers -1. You create your own. I mean, you create your own. Yeah. You bet half the bet on the money line and half the bet on the runs line. That works out to -1. Yep. Come on, guys.
Daniel,
you're gonna win at this stuff. You're gonna use the gray matter. Okay.
You're in one of those teaching moods today, Dave, or maybe.
No, I mean, it's the guy said, and I don't mean to be picking on you, but my book doesn't offer -1. You make your own. Okay, I mean, it's not rocket science.
Just to answer your question there, Daniel, I will have a package up directly following this show, and it'll be a 2-pack. So appreciate you asking that. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. We're up to about 75 live viewers. Be sure to hit that thumbs up on this video. I hope you learned a thing or two from Dave and myself today. Dave was in a teaching mood, so to speak, with a couple things here this afternoon. And
I get curmudgeonly sometimes, and today's one of those days.
It is what it is. I mean, honestly, Dave, you're teaching. That's how you have to think
about it. No. This is no. I gotta get into this. Now, this is where. Okay.
Let me finish my thought.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was talking with Daniel, and I looked at you, and I could tell. I thought there was a fly. I thought I said something wrong. So I just wanted to throw it right over to you because I didn't know what I said that was making you. I thought I said something wrong.
No,
so I looked at you.
The gentleman in the chat says, first he says, I mean, this is when you can tell somebody's bullshitting you, okay? First he says, my book doesn't offer -1. Then I explain how you do it, and he says, I'm aware of that. Well, then why did you say your book doesn't offer -1? And then, of course, I'm up +50 on KBO. I win, LOL. Okay, everybody's up plus 50. If you're up 50 units in KBO, you might be the best handicapper on the planet. Because the season's only been going for a month, so that's a lot. Okay, I don't mean to be busting your balls, but I've been doing this a long time, and I know a line when I hear one. And if you in your comment that says that my book doesn't offer -1 tells me that you don't know what a -1 is, because I don't know of any book that offers a -1. You have to create your own.
Actually, Pinnacle does offer -1 lines.
Do they? Okay. Well, I don't have a direct Pinnacle.
But you don't. Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm here.
I know. I'm just busting your balls now.
Most books don't. In other words, but you can. Yes. But it's very simple to make a -1 line. You do it all the time in hockey, because hockey puck line -1.5 goals is a real dicey bet in the NHL. Even with it's not as bad a bet as it used to be. It used to be a terrible bet. But with the goalies being pulled with 2 and 3 minutes to go in the game now, -1.5 is they win more than they used to. But it's still, to me, you're way better off creating a -1 in the NHL. That way, the game goes into overtime and you pull it out by 1. At least you get your money back.
Well, I'll tell you, Dave, this isn't something I'm incredibly proud of, but I had a decent amount of wins this year off empty net goals. I mean, I'm one of the luckier ones for betting overs 5.5 or 6.5 and getting that empty net goal. And boy, does it feel good when it happens. When it doesn't happen, you're pretty pissed. But when it does,
I'm telling you that.
It's just, that's just how I planned it, just how I drew it up. So it's nice to get a win. And I think you actually can calculate that into your handicapping though, because it's a thing, especially with in-game betting. I like to bet totals over the total heading into the third period. In some games at the second intermission. So that will do it. We'll get back in action tomorrow morning as these series wrap up for the following day. But This is Tuesday, June 23rd. We're talking about picks for tomorrow, the 24th. Dave, thanks for your time. Thanks for joining me. Everybody in the chat box, appreciate your time.
Sorry about being a pain in the ass this morning. I get my moods every once in a while. And the funny thing is, it's mostly when I'm winning really good, I get kind of smug. And so I'm in a smug mood today. We'll see what happens. I might not be in a smug mood on Monday after the golf results come in. I've had a couple of tough Sundays. I mean, I broke even this past weekend, but Jesus, it could have been such a good weekend, and Sunday sucked. But we're going to get him this week.
All right, let's do it. So Dave has some outright winners up at WagerTalk.com, also a package up in the KBO, and my picks are being released in golf tonight. KBO package on the way, and both of us on a pretty hot run. So just a last-second shout-out here. Anybody interested in getting both Dave and myself, we see both of you guys, or a lot of guys, are buying both of our picks. We talked about it. Go ahead and buy it for $499. Get both of us together. It's just the best deal. I mean, why buy both of us singularly when you can get both of us together? Email support@WagerTalk.com and get the both of us, and we'll team up and hopefully make you some money. Take care, guys. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And
a closing note, I can't read, but he says, I appreciate Grumpy Old Men. You're right. And it's a good movie. If you haven't seen Grumpy Old Men with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, go check it out on Amazon or Prime or whatever. It's a funny movie. Thanks for the compliment.
See you guys.
That's it. I'm done.